So oscillating multi-tools are only as good as the blade you equip them with, okay? So why would you go out and buy the expensive blade and get mediocre performance or okay performance, right? When you can go out and buy a much cheaper blade from Harbor Freight and get the same amount of performance, if not more, or if not less. You know, is that the question? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out today, okay? Because we got 3 blades from Harbor Freight to test. We got the Warrior Blade, the Bauer Blade, and the Hercules Blade. And we're going to put them to the test to see if they can beat or outlast or outpower, or, you know, are they just junk? So first we're gonna cut through 10 16D framing nails. Then if they pass that, we're gonna cut through drywall or 10 drywall screws. And then if they pass that, we're gonna cut through 10 GRK R4 structural screws on our test track that we have set up so far, okay? And if you've been watching the series, you know only the DeWalt carbide tipped multi-tool blade has completed the test track. So are these blades up to the challenge? Let's go find out. So this right here is the Warrior Blade model number 61821, or maybe that's the Harbor Freight item number, but this is universal compatible fit with all of these, quick change. It is a bimetal blade, and of course this blade costs $7, made for cutting drywall, wood, plastic, and metal, aka wood with nails. And it pretty much says this blade is made in Vietnam for Harbor Freight tools, okay? So if you want to take a closer look at the blade, you know, obviously this here says bimetal, wood, metal 61821. There's really not too much other to look at it, except for you want to look at the teeth. Look at that. The teeth are pretty shallow, not very pronounced by any other means. And if you look at it, you know, that's all you're really getting. So $7 blade. Let's see how it holds up. All right. This right here is the Bauer Blade, also for universal fit. Metal, plastic, wood, wood with nails, and drywall. This one, they claim, lasts up to 3 times faster performance. I guess it's faster performance, not longer performance. And this is titanium / bimetal. Has an offset design for plunge cuts, and this blade is made in China. The model number on this blade is 18101A-B8. And this is heavy duty guaranteed. So if you want to take a better look at the blade, and kind of like we saw with the Dremel blade, this has a depth guide marked on it, you know, right here, in case that's what you wanted to see. It looks like this is probably the inch guide, and this right here is the millimeter guide. So look at it closely. The teeth on here are definitely a lot more pronounced and a lot bigger, if you want to say, than the one on the Warrior Blade. So that's what that really looks like there. Okay, actually interesting, just taken out of the box, but it looks like it's got a few scratches on there. So that's the Bauer Blade. And let's go take a look at this Hercules blade, because it's 3 times longer life in the hardest materials. The model number on this Hercules blade is HA211-8. And this has a flush cut offset design, anti-jam reduced neck design. This blade costs $16. This is a carbide teeth blade, which is cuts harder material, and it has high strength welds. This is for universal fit. Has a pretty thick curve, and obviously, you know, as it says right here, drywall, wood with nails, wood, plastic, and metal. And this blade is made professionally in China for Hercules tools. The model number here says HA211-8, but it also says some, maybe it's an item number here, 56488. This claims up to 3 times longer life, and it says right here, if the asterisk, compared to similar products in its class. So what class is it? Is it the oscillating tool blade class? Is it the oscillating tool carbide class? Is it the heavy duty class? You know, we're not sure. We're gonna have to find out, okay? So this Hercules blade also has the depth guide adjustment marked on here, like a gauge, as a inch gauge and a millimeter gauge here. It has the model number printed on there, HA211-8. And if you look at the teeth here, the teeth are pretty much what you would expect for carbide teeth. If you look at the back here, you know the teeth are pretty good for carbide teeth. We'll see how that goes. But this blade is whopping $16. This Bauer blade is a whopping $10. And this Warrior blade is $7. So are they really, you know, worth the cost? Let's go find out. All right, so some of those numbers were exciting and some of them were not, so let's go take a recap real quick, okay? First, the Warrior Blade, model number 61821, the $7 bimetal blade cut 10 16D framing nails just fine in roughly about 24.13 seconds, 0 drywall screws and 0 structural screws, making a total number of 10 fasteners cut, and that blade is made in Vietnam, okay? Then we moved on to the Bauer Blade, model number 18101A-B8, which is the bimetal plus titanium blade. That blade cut 10 framing nails just fine in roughly about 9.82 seconds. And yes, I did say 9.82, that is under 10 seconds, okay? I think that's probably the fastest nail cutting blade we've tested so far, but we're gonna have to go take a look at the leaderboard, all right? Then it cut 0 drywall screws and 0 structural screws, making total number of fasteners cut 10 nails, okay? That blade is made in China. Let's go take a look at the Hercules blade. The Hercules blade HA211-8. It's a carbide tipped, pretty much demo blade costing a whopping $16, okay? That blade cut 10 nails in roughly about 26.92 seconds, then 10 drywall screws in 78.38 seconds. Then it cut 4 structural screws and then failed after that, making a total number of fasteners cut 24 fasteners cut, and that blade is made in China, okay? So, where do these blades rank on the leaderboard? Let's just go throw them all up there and go take a recap of it, all right? First, the Warrior 61821 blade, bimetal blade with 10 fasteners cut, is in second to last place, right in front of the DeWalt Wood with Nails DWA4203, which is a blade that cost $9, mainly because that blade failed with 9 nails cut and the Warrior blade failed with 10 nails cut, okay? So if you look at the leaderboard, the Warrior blade is the dead second to last, but it is in last place of all the 10 fasteners cut, mainly because it took the longest to get the job done in 24.13 seconds, whereas other bimetal blades that cut 10 nails got it done significantly faster, okay? Speaking of significantly faster, let's go take a look at the Bauer blade. So the Bauer blade, the 18101A-B8, which is the bimetal titanium blade. They don't say titanium enhanced, but it's bimetal titanium as it says in the marketing. That blade cost $10 and it cut 10 nails, 10 fasteners, which is the 10 nails, in 9.82 seconds, okay? So that blade is actually in, I believe, 5th place on the leaderboard, right behind the Craftsman, but in front of the Integra Tools blade, okay? So I'm talking about with just the bimetal blades. So in the bimetal blade section is actually the second blade on the leaderboard, right behind the Craftsman, like I said, which is in 1st place. But the Craftsman blade costs $14, cut 10 nails in 13.65 seconds, whereas the Bauer blade cut 10 nails in sub 10 seconds, which is 9.82. And if you look at the entire leaderboard, it is the fastest nail cutting blade that we've tested so far to date by far. Its only relative competition is probably going to be that Craftsman blade right above it, but the Craftsman blade has a little bit of an edge, mainly because it cut 1 drywall screw, whereas the Bauer blade cut 0 drywall screws, okay? So let's go take a look at the Hercules blade. The Hercules blade, the carbide tipped HA211-8, the blade that costs whopping $16, cut 24 fasteners, which is 10 nails, 10 drywall screws, and 4 structural screws, putting it in 2nd place, right behind the DeWalt DWA4250, which is a carbide tipped blade costing a whopping $24, okay? Whereas the Hercules blade costs $16. The blade right under that one is going to be the Dremel blade, which is a blade that costs right around $15 and cut 0 structural screws, whereas the Hercules cut 4 structural screws. And remember, the structural screws that we're testing are GRK R4 screws, all right? So, what can we say about these blades, okay? Or let's go talk about the blades, but we go buy them again. The Warrior blade, I'll probably not buy again, even though it's, yes, it's $7, and it's the slowest cutting blade, and it just didn't get that well. If you look at the leaderboard, there's a bunch of blades that, that cost roughly the same amount or less, that cuts faster or better, all right? So it's probably not the blade. I would probably not buy that blade again. The Bauer blade, it's a $10 blade. It's the fastest cutting wood nail embedded wood blade, and it's a blade I'll probably consider buying again, but the problem is that that blade costs roughly about $10. So if you walk into a store and try to buy an oscillating multi-tool blade about $10, it's probably going to be one of the better blades you could probably get in the store, but it's something that you're gonna have to consider, considering you could probably buy, let's just say, other blades on online stores for significantly less, right? So that's something to think about. But yes, it is a blade I'll probably consider buying again. The Hercules carbide tipped blade. Let's go talk about that one. So this blade is $21, okay? Or sorry, $16. So $16 cutting 24 fasteners. Yeah, that's probably something you want to think about, okay? So the other closest competition close to it's going to be the Dremel MM485 blade, which is $15 per blade, and that cut 20 fasteners, okay? So would you buy, or should you buy, the Hercules blade over the Dremel blade? Probably, right? Mainly because it's $1 more expensive and it is able to cut some structural screws, whereas the Dremel blade wasn't able to cut the structural screws, okay? So that's probably something to point out. Would I go out and buy this again? If I had to buy, you know, this, if I had to choose between certain blades, probably yes. But I do know there are some other blades that we haven't tested so far that may do better than ones that I've been using for a long time. And I would say, let's go find out if that blade stands up to the competition, okay? So, if I haven't mentioned this already, none of this video is sponsored. Nobody sent this to us. This is all the stuff that we found in our own findings, and hopefully we're just trying to put together good information for y'all so y'all know, you know, good decision when you can try to buy something, right? So we always like it when, you know, some of the cheaper alternatives do better than some of the competition that costs, you know, more, right? So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks for watching. Get back to working, and we'll see you guys next time.